Nice. That was nice.
Really nice playing there. I haven't heard you quite get into it like that.
That's very kind of you to say so, but it's always an honour to jam with someone like you. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Hutchins in the house.
Nice to be here.
We've got Alex for most of the day, so I think we're going to talk a little bit about life, the universe, and everything, which is going to be the long-form, hyper-interesting, deep video. Don't know where that's going to go, but that'll probably be the second video, so like and subscribe, stay tuned, and all that stuff. The first one, we're just going to do a little revisit of these super duper Laney Foundry amplifiers. This is your amp of choice these days.
It is, indeed, yeah. So basically, the story goes, last year these came out, the 2x12 and the single 12. And I first heard it when I was in Malaysia or something, and Jack Thamrat, if you know him, was plugging into it. I was just busy doing something, and I heard this beautiful sound from across the room, and I said, what on earth is that? And it just was lovely. And I went up to it, and he was plugged into that version, and I said, I've got to try it. And it just spoke to me. The tone is brilliant. So this is the latest one, incarnation. So it's the head. The good thing about it is that you can DI it as well. You don't have to have a cab, but it's got a matching cab as well.
Well, I'm happy to revisit this because the story, when this came out last year, Andertons did a video. You can go and find the link to that video below. Pete and I loved the amplifier. It was super popular, straight out the back, completely caught Laney off guard with how popular it would be. And as with all sort of, affordable amplifiers that are sort of made in the Far East, if you get the forecast wrong about how popular it's going to be, it can take you 6 months to kind of catch up. So yes, from sort of November, December last year through till probably April this year, this was just out of stock.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, they've sort of realized now how popular it's going to be. The stock is coming in sort of sufficient quantities. So it's good to revisit. But I think we should let's get this straight away. This is not a hyper expensive valve amplifier, is it?
No.
This is a crazy affordable solid state.
Exactly.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, when I heard it for the first time, I didn't know what I was listening to. I genuinely had no idea.
Yeah.
So I was drawn to the tone, which to me, it's everything, because I didn't know if it was a £5,000 amplifier. I didn't know what it was. I just thought, oh, that sounds great. And then plugged into it, realized, and then the best part when I went to the chap from there, I said, how much is that then? And he said, oh, it's not valve, it's the X amount. And I was like, oh, how have you done that?
Yeah.
So I'm proud of these guys. It's great.
So this is Laney Foundry, and I really like the sort of the less is more approach.
Absolutely.
It's a bit cliche, isn't it? But
yeah, I think if I may, I think Laney's always sort of prided itself on being a classic amp company, so the valve amps, and of course they still produce the wonderful valve amps, and including the Lionheart series, which I've always loved as a, we'll get into this later, but I've got my jazz side and my rock side, right? Yeah. So I love both tonalities. So what I love that these guys do is a beautiful version of both. So if you want the clean, creamy, beautiful tone for days, sort of like organic tone, this is your guy. Now the valve version, now this one too, or you've got the heavy Tony Iommi or the Ironhearts. So they've always had this is a tone from the amp kind of mentality. So I think coming into the market just minus the valves is the big wow.
And that for me, that's still, whether you're in the world of modeling or solid state or whatever, valve is still the epitome, isn't it? If you just if you're prepared to pay the price, accept the sort of the foibles or whatever the word is of having a valve amplifier, you know, periodically changing valves and accepting that it's an organic kind of thing and it might change in tone over to all that. It's still, for me, that's the epitome. And I don't, even digital guys, all they're trying to do with their digital kit is emulate as close as they can a valve sound. Nobody's going like somehow it's superior. And I just think with solid state, again, all of that more features went further and further away from just going, but what about this, just the tone, you know, just the basic tone. It's so important. And I do think with Foundry, Laney have nailed that. I mean, that you're not using anything with this,
No, I just plugged in the front.
So I mean, I've got my pedals and I was adding overdrive and delay and all kinds of stuff. But you're just, so let's just have a little listen.
Yeah, I'll take you through it. I've got my little foot switches here. So you've got, just to give you the basics, it's a 2-channel, dual channel, clean, crunch, and you've got a foot switchable boost, which makes all the difference to me. Right, so just purely clean with nothing. It's just... Okay.
And this is a 212 cab?
Correct,
and
yes.
The smallest version of this, I think, is a 50-watt 112, isn't it? Combo.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is, don't think like, oh, that's some sort of like the baby version that doesn't sound as good. That's like...
Oh, it sounds great.
There isn't currently like a baby, not good sounding version of Foundry. It's
No.
the 50-watt 112 is brilliant, and then it just gets better or bigger, really.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's just clean with nothing. Now just put some reverb. Got a lovely usable. Okay, then the boost for me is what gives it that extra creaminess. So I love. The response is nuts. It really feels so lovely. And you say the dynamic response is super important. So we're still on the clean channel. Let's go take the boost off and just go into the crunch channel. Now, so again,
you've gone all the gain.
Yeah,
so you're
without boost.
Very much that sort of legato, liquid kind of gain level, aren't you?
I'll play with that in just a sec. But I just wanted to show that, let's say the pickup response. You know, so split. So I love the fact that it does that. Now I'll bring it back and then we'll boost it as well.
It's very difficult to put into words. Sometimes it's really obvious when a solid state amp is solid state trying to do a valve overdriven sound, and that's hard, isn't it? I'm not sure what I would. I'm sure if we put a valve amp to the side of it, some harmonic overtone would become more. Not
apparent,
apparent.
Yeah.
But actually, in the absence of that, you're just going. Just sounds like a valve amplifier, giving it some balls, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've turned that gain down a bit. So if you wanted to, you know, maybe then boost that. But then, you know,
sounds great. And we're not crazy loud either. That's the other upside.
We're on like 2, you know. And I should also say, I haven't gigged this yet because until the video comes out, it's not released. But I have gigged that one, yes. So I've gigged the 212, and I'll be playing it on a jazz festival on Friday. It just kicks ass, aside of that, but it sounds awesome, and I use it with the 4-cable method, so I can use my delays and effects and volume pedal. But right now I'm just straight in the front, so let's do the boosted version now.
I
love it.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful tone. I mean, just the guitar and a pedal.
Just interesting for guitar players that are sort of, you know, there will be lots of, there's always the standard thing, isn't there, of like, oh, can I see the settings you've got on your amplifier? And I have to say, 99% of the reason why Alex sounds like he does has got nothing to do with where the settings are in the amplifier. It's all in here, I'm afraid, sadly, ladies and gentlemen.
Slightly.
But what is apparent, again, is you've pushed the mid-range. So the bass is flat, the mid-range is pushed, the treble is dialed back, the tone is dialed back. And I think that's a good gigging tone, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you go the other way of that sort of classic bedroom setting of bit of extra bass and treble and the mid-range taken out, you won't get that meaty juiciness.
Well, you know, it's funny because when I did the Stephen Wilson tour a bunch of years ago, and I used I had to say it. I learned something then about, I was using the Lionheart, right? And of course, that kind of level of a show, it's very crucial that the tone is right because you start amplifying it, then you put mics in front of it, and it's going out on to a big system. Like if you got the bass up too much, it's woofy. The sound guy is going to struggle with it, and I learned through the process of working with the sound designer and stuff. So that bass was kind of down there at 9 o'clock, and I thought, now in isolation, you feel like you want to crank it a little bit, but that's the perception of the bedroom or at lower volume, shall we say. When you start pushing an amp, you don't need that bass up. And so I've kind of taken that and learned something from that. So I just either roll it back a bit or straight up, but certainly not push it.
So you're saying in a band mix, you might even take the bass end down
Yeah,
a bit more.
exactly, probably. But it sounds a little more pleasing, but I certainly wouldn't be boosting it because I've learned to appreciate what that does to the sound. And again, I mean, whether this is advice, I don't know, but what I would say is the last thing you would want, let's say you turn up on a gig and you had it boosted, the sound guy, if they're worth their salt, will certainly go, don't need all that, and they will take it out. But then that affects your tone because they're taking it out. They might not even tell you what they're doing. So if you can provide them with as close to something that's going to work, that means they don't need to mess with your sound. Now, it depends on the sound engineer, but, and if they're a nice guy and if they're doing their job right, then they want to make it sound good, and so if you can present them with the best mix possible, that's going to work.
All right, well, look, so you've got here, what else have we got in here? We've just got so it's a single, there's not like multi-voices or anything on the gain.
Well, actually, there is a switch, a bright switch and a dark mode. So I like a darker tone, so I put it on dark mode. And then, and in terms of connectivity, of course, you've got like effects loop on there, and you can go straight out of the DI, which sounds really nice as well. Because
so I think that's like an analog emulated output, isn't it? So it's you're not loading IRs in or anything like that.
No,
it's just a straightforward. Here you go.
And actually, you get the choice to have it off, as it were.
It's always handy.
But so you can add stuff to your requirements if you want to.
Oh, so you can take a non-emulated output into an IR loader if you wanted to.
But there's also a 1x12 and a 4x12 emulation built in. So I have it on the 412, which I like.
I'm fairly sure if you go back and watch the video we did in the launch, that we show you what the DI out is, and it does sound really good.
It is, but super clean and like noiseless.
You've got some effects on the bigger one.
Let me show you that.
I'm fairly sure that's one of the differences between this and the little 50-watt 112.
You're right.
Is although you have reverb and overdrive in that, I don't think you get the chorus and the
tremolo.
Yeah,
absolutely right. Yeah, so in the 212 you do, and in the head you do. So just to show you, it's a lovely chorus. To me, I kind of hear chorus as kind of two types, and what's nice is you can get both of them from here. So let me show you the first one. Just nice. I'll put the boost back on actually. Just a nice straight chorus, which works well. Then the other type of chorus that I like.
So this isn't you're not switching modes. You're doing one with a fast speed and one with a slow speed.
That's right. So, but to me, those are the two chorus sounds. A lovely spacious one, and then what I call the John Scofield, the sort of. Well, let me put a bit more depth. Yeah, that kind of like. Let's try that again. Now, it's not for everyone, but it's like that. Sometimes on a gig, you just want that little kind of... So it does both.
It's got almost going in sort of Leslie territory, aren't
Yeah.
you, with that second sound. My favourite is always just the slower speed, and it's that very
Depth.
Purple Rain kind
Yeah.
of sounding classic.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then you've got a tremolo as well.
Just to, you know, change the speed as you like.
All your Boulevard of Broken Dreams tunes.
So it's nice that you've got some effects on there. They're very usable, but again, it's not over the top.
No.
Just a couple of nice effects, but that's it.
That was, again, obviously I could use the effects loop to put sort of ambient stuff through it, but on my board I tend not to. But, you know, so again, I think what's nice again about these kinds of solid state amplifiers is the versus say a modeling thing, is there is quite a natural interaction between putting a boost pedal into it or a drive pedal into it. So you know, it doesn't feel like I'm getting any sort of unnatural overload.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously a relatively low gain. I'm not sure what I've got. I've got the wrong guitar for any high gain kind of stuff. But again, you know, reverb's in the front end. So
Beautiful.
I think it's a very versatile. Like I say, I loved this when we did the first video, and to be honest with you, I just sort of, because it's been out of stock, it was so popular, it became out of stock for so long. I sort of almost, I think everyone's sort of forgotten it exists, and it's a timely reminder that this Foundry. And again, I forget exact pricing, but the range starts from under £300 when you're down at that. And the 50 watt 112 is, I mean, really that's the main sort of Katana competitor. So it's a gigging little portable, killer little amplifier. Do those foot switches come with it, or did you have to buy those optional?
Yeah, optional extra. But I mean, to me, I love the idea of, because I've been using it gigging, you need that. But if you've just got it at home, you can obviously just switch it right on the front.
Fine. Well, I'm sure on our website we'll link the foot switches to it and stuff like that. So this is great. I didn't realise this was a new amp.
Yeah,
so
brand new.
Links below. And again, you'll be able to find all of the Foundry series and pick one of those up from Andertons if you so wish.
412 coming with it as well as an option.
There?
So 412, 212. I think it's going to be the most like affordable 412.
Is this it? Is 2025
Brilliant.
the return of the half stack?
Yes.
That's it. We've all been going around with like our little sort of digital thing, going, oh, Soundman says I can't have this and there's no room on the stage. No, that's it. 2025.
What about full stack?
Exactly. Come back
two
with
of
the
them.
full stack in stereo as well.
Exactly.
God, you know what though? It is
That'd be
mental to think of that was the band that I would have been in my teens and 20s. You'd play a stage that you could barely get a drum kit on, and you'd have a half stack.
Oh, you're taking me back now because I remember when I was a Saturday boy back in the day working in a local guitar store. Yeah, we would like sell those like Slash, Marshall, Snake Pit, whatever, with a 4x12, and some people would actually have two 4x12s. Can you
in the good old days?
Yeah, like in a pub, completely overkill.
That's why we're all deaf now, isn't it? It's probably not such a good thing. Anyway, look, thanks, man. Please stay tuned, like and subscribe, because Alex and I are going to go and have a discussion about the state of the music industry and recent things and his new guitars and projects and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know where it's going to go, but it should be fun. Anyway, great. Thanks for watching. See you next time.